I think the problem that we've had is that we have people decided that they didn't really want to work so much anymore through COVID, and that has had a massive issue on productivity. Tradies have definitely pulled back on productivity. They have been paid a lot to do not too much in the last few years, and we need to see that change. We need to see unemployment rise. Unemployment has to jump 40, 50% in my view. We need to see pain in the economy. We need to remind people that they work for the employer, not the other way around.
That guy literally said that and thought it was totally fine to be candid about the fact that he thinks that we need to get unemployment up to 40 to 50% to really teach these damn workers a lesson because they're lazy. In his mind, they're lazy. They're getting paid a lot of money to not do much. By the way, who is that guy? He's a CEO based in Australia. And he's also the guy who was notorious for making an avocado toast statement that we'll get to in just a moment. But Woz, I want to get a reaction from you right away. Thoughts?
I mean, this is cartoonish supervillain CEO stuff. Like, I mean, even the most strident capitalist, avaricious, just greedy bastard would watch that clip and be like, bro, I mean, come on, relax. And also stop saying the quiet part loud. And it's almost as if, Anna, employers want a depressed job market so that they hire us. We're as desperate and as desolate as possible so that they can manipulate us and do to us what they will. Like, it's just obvious.
100%, and you're right, he is saying the quiet parts out loud. So if any business owners are furious with him, it's the fact that he's saying the quiet parts out loud. And look, this is the kind of like mentality that I've noticed among business executives, not just here in the United States apparently. Australia is dealing with a similar climate where there's an extremely low unemployment rate, which means that there's a tight labor market, which means that workers have a little more leverage. Little more leverage means that they have more demands, higher pay, better benefits, better working conditions in order to take the job, right? And the employers hate it. And this guy in particular, who his name is Tim Gurner, he's not jazzed about the tight labor market. He hates it. And rather than seeing it for what it is, workers actually having leverage and demanding better working conditions for themselves, he's just kind of brushing them off as lazy, unproductive bums who are getting paid a lot of money to do little in his mind. I'd like to see how his business would fare without the workers. But before we get to that, let's hear more of what this idiot had to say.
I mean, there's been a systematic change where employees feel the employer is extremely lucky to have them, as opposed to the other way around. So it's a dynamic that has to change. We've got to kill that attitude, and that has to come through hurting the economy, which is what the whole global, the world is trying to do. The governments around the world are trying to increase unemployment to get that to some sort of normality. And we're seeing it. I think every employer now is seeing it. I mean, there is definitely massive layoffs going off. People might not be talking about it, but people are definitely laying people off, and we're starting to see less arrogance in the employment market, and that has to continue because that will cascade across the cost balance.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I mean, it just gets worse. Like, it doesn't get any better. Wow. I mean, Woz? The workers should feel lucky to have the job. Okay, the employer shouldn't feel lucky to have the workers who actually generate the revenue for their businesses, right?
That guy in that clip called workers arrogant. Like, the person who provided the quotes of that clip called workers arrogant. And yes, Anna, you're right. This idea of who's luckier to have who is ridiculous. He's a businessman. He knows he only hires people because they make him profit, because they generate revenue. He does not do it out of the goodness of his heart. Everybody knows, every good businessman is taught to keep costs down as low as possible, We know that wages are part of costs so that you can keep revenues and profits up as much as possible. And we have a tendency in this country and to call employers or job creators. I propose, Anna, from now on, we call workers revenue creators, profit creators, because that's what we are. Okay, there are no handouts in this system. These people do not give a damn about the well-being of the greater community or civic society. That's just been completely dispensed with. They hire people because those people will create a surplus profit, and that surplus profit will go directly into their pockets. And so, yes, let's please start calling workers around the world, around this country, revenue and profit creators, because that's what they are.
In fact, why don't we help our homeboy out, right? Let's give him a little bit of an economics lesson, the same kind of economics lesson that people like him like to give to the revenue creators, the profit generators, okay? There's this thing that happens in a capitalist economy called supply and demand. When there's high demand for workers but low supply for workers, then you gotta pay the workers more to attract them to your job, your company, right? That's exactly what needs to happen. And that is what, again, the workers have the leverage. It's just the way this is working out. And he can't stand it because workers having leverage is so rare in the system. And so government data put Australia's unemployment rate, much like the United States, at 3.7% in July. And the Reserve Bank of Australia has said the rate of unemployment would have to rise to 4.5% to curb inflation, which again is very similar to what Jerome Powell, the head of the Federal Reserve here in the United States, had said in regard to tackling inflation, right? Some people need to lose their jobs. We need to increase unemployment along with the interest rates in order to get inflation under control. Now, Gurner's suggested increase in Australian unemployment could bring the number of people in the country out of work to over 800,000 people. And it could mean a return to unemployment rates of around 5.5%. The last time the country saw that figure or higher was during the throes of the pandemic. So that's what that guy is salivating over, like a bunch of people losing their jobs. So he's the one who's got the leverage. He's the one who gets to essentially nickel and dime the employees or individuals looking for jobs so he can maximize his own profits. His assertion that nobody wants to work anymore is also BS. I mean, I shouldn't even have to go through this or provide the receipts for this. Most of the people watching this show are workers, and they know that this line of attack is ridiculous, and we've been dealing with it here in the United States for quite some time. According to a Washington Post analysis, the labor market as a whole regained 75% of the 4 million workers who had dropped out of the workforce due to a range of reasons, including health concerns, COVID illness, and death. By the way, a lot of companies had to shut down during the pandemic, so people lost their jobs through no fault of their own, right? It's not like they made a decision. Most people, like about 10 million Americans, immediately laid off as soon as these shutdowns happened. And by the way, who is Gurner? And why is he such an arrogant prick? Well, Gurner is the head of the Gurner Group. Of course, he would name it after himself. A real estate company founded in 2013. According to the company's website, the firm has a development and management portfolio worth about 9.5 billion Australian dollars, or just over 6 billion in US currency. The firm primarily focuses on luxury homes and property management, but also dabbles in private social clubs, and with one offering, anti-aging services, which maybe he should take advantage of. The Australian Financial Review estimates his net worth to be about $584 million. And remember how I referenced the avocado toast thing? Well, this is what I was referring to. Back in 2017, he said this in regard to the economic issues that millennials are dealing with. We are coming into a new reality where a lot of people won't own a house in their lifetime. That is just the reality. Asked if he believes young people will never own a home, he responded, absolutely. When you're spending $40 a day on smashed avocados and coffees and not working, of course. I mean, he has this vision of ordinary people that just it won't let up. Like, this is just what he thinks about ordinary people, ordinary workers. We're all bums. We're all irresponsibly spending money on avocado toast and refusing to work, and that's why we'll never be able to own a home. The reality is, of course, he works in the real estate industry. He knows exactly what is transpiring within the real estate industry, and he knows exactly why owning homes is so unattainable for most people, much less young people, Zoomers, millennials, all of that. So he knows, but he's never gonna take responsibility for his role in that system. Instead, he's just gonna place all the blame on ordinary people who have been priced out of the housing market as a result of the kind of greed that he really praises and wants to maintain. It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a classic example of next time somebody tries to explain to you that people who have money are brilliant and have unlocked the secrets to life, just play a clip of this bozo trying to explain the worker economy and what's wrong with it and why, like where he's literally just exposing him and his cohort for some of the ghoulish tendencies that many of them unfortunately possess.
Thanks for watching the Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.